Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Pretend Pundits. I'm Andy, and that is Sean, and we are back. Just like Barnsley pretending that their home kit isn't awful, we are pretending to know about football for yet another week. Sean, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good week this week. Last week at my last office, moving over to a new office this week, so fun and exciting. You know me.
Yeah, you've been keeping.
And I'm in
busy,
the bedroom today.
You've been keeping a busy boy. Yeah, Sean's got a new studio now. He's big. He's in the big leagues.
It's where the magic happens.
Yeah. On the subject, then we'll quickly pull up one of the hottest topics we've been talking about in the Discord this week, and that is, of course, the new Barnsley home kit. It's been dubbed potentially the worst kit of the season. Give me your thoughts on it, mate. Is it growing on you at all?
I can't believe that anybody's signed off on that. What sort of marketing guy has gone, tell you what you need? You need a nice MLS kit or like a pro clubs kit that somebody's created in their bedroom. It's awful.
I have to say, I like the collars very much Man United from last season themed. But yeah, I don't know. It's not grown on me. It'll probably look nicer on. But yeah, it looks a little bit less scary than when I first saw it. But I think they could sell out more ad space on it.
If they were sponsored by Paramount Pictures and they were blue, then I could understand that circle of stars over the top of it. But
yeah, but then it would get banned.
Awful.
Did you hear about Chelsea's kit?
Oh yeah, because of the EFL deal, wasn't it?
Yeah, basically it was a conflict with the broadcasters or something to that effect. They couldn't have their nice Paramount kit, which was strange, but I'm sure Todd Burley's doing all right without it, nevertheless. Jonathan Ship, welcome in, dude. I love the opening. Yeah, I mean, I had to do it for you, mate, the resident Barnsley fan. Ben Ray, evening, gents. Ben Ray, welcome in, dude. Glad to have you as always. So a few topics we're going to cover off this evening. De Gea disrespect, the price of rice, the regular transfer talk, and everything else that's coming up. But before we get into that, let's just give a shout out to Cesc Fabregas. There he is pictured there. I did want to get him pictured in an Arsenal shirt just because of obviously the Arsenal themed, but there's a picture of him there kissing a trophy, and I couldn't get him in that with an Arsenal shirt on. So yeah, there he is.
Surprising. He was one of the Arsenal Invincibles, so he should have been holding the trophy.
Oh, was he? Damn it. My bait didn't work. I didn't do my research properly. God damn it. But yeah, Cesc Fabregas retires with 2 Premier Leagues. Arguably one of the best players the Premier League's ever seen. Would you say he's the best Spanish player the Prem's ever seen?
Ooh, he's in the discussion, isn't he?
I'd say
maybe
so,
David,
yeah.
maybe David Silva, Fernando Torres set the league alight. Yeah, I'd probably say he's certainly in the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, without disrespecting Ander Herrera, I mean, he's one of the best assisters in the Premier League, that's ever been seen. He's played for the likes of Chelsea, Arsenal, Barcelona, Man United. We even went in for him at one point, but he's gone straight out of the frying pan and into the fire, straight into management, I believe. Was it 2 teams that he's managing? Is it Como Reserves and someone else?
So he was a player coach at Como, and part owner. So I don't know what the situation with. I mean, he's been coaching a lot of the Arsenal under-21s very recently.
Mm-hmm.
So I wondered whether there's some sort of coaching agreement that he'll come and join. But I wish him the best of luck. I think he's a fantastic player. There's a lot of people that would say not an Arsenal legend. For me, I grew up watching Fabregas. The peak years, he's a legend for me.
Yeah, I mean, with time served, you could argue, but either way, he's certainly one of the Premier League legends. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets inducted into the Hall of Fame quite soon too. Crazy Paulina on the Barnsley kit, I think, is saying Brexit means Brexit. Why the EU flag? I don't know. Is Barnsley very pro-Brexit, or are they against it? Is that their message to the government saying get us back in? But yeah, best of luck to Cesc Fabregas, of course. The final one before we move on to the main topics is the Euros. Of course, the under-21 Euros that's taking place right now, which has been amazing to watch for anyone who can actually get it. They're not making the games readily available to watch, which is annoying. But England secured themselves a place in the semi-final this afternoon with a 1-0 win over Portugal.
And we play Israel in the next round, don't we?
Yeah, Israel in the semi-final, which is absolutely mad to read out loud. I was looking earlier, and Georgia was in one of their groups, and they finished top of their group. They had with, was it Belgium and Netherlands and all these sorts of teams, and I thought, what on earth is going on?
Have they got? I can't remember the name of that player. He plays for Napoli. I can't remember what. Oh,
Yeah.
something beginning with a K. Is he playing? Do you know, or is he with the national team?
I actually do not know. That's a good question. Let me just pull up the groups now, because I was reading through it, and you look at the tables. So they finished top of their group: Portugal second, Netherlands third, Belgium fourth. In England's group, England, Israel, Czech Republic, Germany, and then everything else is kind of as you'd expect: Spain, Ukraine, Croatia, Romania. But his name is it Kvasviatella?
Something like that. I wouldn't want to pronounce it.
I think he must be with the main team, because he didn't play the last game. Squad. No, it looks like he's gone straight to the seniors.
Wow,
so yeah,
incredible.
England versus Israel. There is a game ongoing now. France, Ukraine. Ukraine are 2-1 up, so that's for a place in the semi-final against Spain. England are the only team not to concede a goal in that tournament. So
I see Smith Rowe's been playing well, and Anthony Gordon has been playing well as well.
Yeah, Newcastle fans, I'm sure, will be excited by that news. But yeah, let's get into the main meat of this week's pod then. De Gea disrespect. Where do we start with this? So De Gea's contract has now officially expired. He's now officially a free agent. It's not to say that he's not going to be signed into a new deal with Manchester United, but all signs point towards it's not going to happen. So I can't remember if we covered it or not last week, but just to give it some context, what actually happened with De Gea was he was offered an extension with a pay cut, which was always going to be the case, right? So it was a reduction on his 375k a week. He accepted and signed the offer. However, Manchester United did not sign it, and the offer was withdrawn. And then another further contract was issued with a further reduction, to which neither party signed. So whether he's seen that as a kind of site of disrespect from Manchester United, the fact that it's gone to the stage where he is now a free agent and not a player, that for me is massively disrespectful, regardless of the contracts that were offered. Why are these contracts been allowed to go all the way to this day is just baffling, and I'm sure there's going to be a bit of taste in his mouth after this one. Do you have any thoughts on this at all?
It's a bit sleazy, isn't it? Here's a contract, we'll agree this deal. I think, if I remember right, Unai Emery did the same with Aaron Ramsey, agreed a deal and then took the deal off the table because all parties hadn't signed it. I don't think he's the guy that you need in goal. I think you should be looking for a first-team goalkeeper, but equally, like we said last week, I think he is a club legend and he should be dealt with a bit more respect than, well, you agreed a deal that we put on the table for you, but we've had second thoughts. It just sounds a bit wrong, doesn't it?
And we're probably never really going to know what the true ins and outs are, but the question is, where did the contract pull come from? Was it Ten Hag? Was it the management, above him? Was it Richard Arnold? Was it John Murtagh? All these figures, someone has to be accountable for that somewhere. And I think it's unfortunate, right? It's unfortunate that De Gea ended up becoming the highest paid player, but that's not his fault.
No.
I think they've done what most clubs are trying to do now. This is where Barcelona obviously sewed themselves in knots, right? Where they paid Messi 1.2 million a week, so therefore Griezmann had to have 800k and X had to have 600k until they fucked themselves, right?
Yeah.
How long is De Gea going to be at Manchester United for? Is it 1 more year, 2 more years, 3? He's already accepted a reduction. Show the guy some respect. 4-time Player of the Year winner in a row. He single-handedly has qualified us for Champions League football some seasons. And we only had the debate last week, didn't we, about whether he would be considered a legend. And we both agreed that he is. That's not how you treat a club legend. I'm sorry, that's utterly appalling. And I think regardless of what kind of situation we have with our goalkeepers. That can't happen.
Not at all.
And
no, I agree completely.
yeah,
I think he would go into any first team, or sorry, top six side, whether that's as the first team goalkeeper or the second side goalkeeper. He's a good enough player to keep around, just for his experience with the club. He clearly wants to be there. He's accepted the deal, but I can't imagine that anybody other than Ten Hag would have pulled the deal, though, because if anybody else in the club did pull the deal, that undermines everything that Ten Hag stands for on the pitch.
yeah.
So he has to be complicit in some way, and in which case, then it's probably purely on footballing ability, and the way that he plays, his style of play.
Yeah, that was the most heavily linked sort of rumor about it, was that Ten Hag was the one who ordered the deal to be pulled. So that doesn't surprise me. However, that's never happened before. So you can see, okay, Ten Hag's style, this is how he wants to do things, and he's managing his squad and he's in control. So that makes perfect sense. I don't blame Ten Hag for making that decision. I just think that it's not been organised very well. But we'll see. We'll see what comes of that. Like you say, he could be a second choice goalkeeper for us. He could even stay first choice for a bit with someone as an understudy. Yeah. Again, it's just another one of these situations where it's not our priority. A striker is our priority, but all the sagas around Manchester United are drawn around other players. So I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know why it is, but I just hope we can get past this, and what happens, and we can move on. In the transfer talk about Man United, we've got a couple of goalkeepers we've been linked with, so stay tuned for that bit. Saudi are reportedly coming in for De Gea. Do you think that would be a bad move for him, or do you think he should fight for European football?
I think it's a bad move for anybody to go to Saudi football currently, personally. Yeah. They have, I think it's a 12-team league or something like that. So the teams won't take long to get filled up. I see that Jamie Vardy rejected a move to Saudi. Apparently not enough secrets and lies over there for Rebecca Vardy. But yeah, I don't think De Gea is the money kind of guy. Yes, he was paid an obscene amount of money per week, but that's not his fault, like you said.
Yeah.
And he's accepted a pay reduction. If pay was everything to him, go to the Saudi league. But
yeah, so it might be the disrespect of the sort of rug pull with the contract that has left him sort of in this limbo, not necessarily the pay reduction. But yeah, I'm sure you'd be in a similar situation. You know, you're not the veteran of your game anymore. You know, time's getting on. However, the club have still backed you, whether it be with a slight wage reduction, and then to pull that is just, rightly so. It's disrespectful, and this is exactly why contracts going into the last year are always sort of tricky. So,
I'll tell you who needs to sign De Gea. I know that they've just signed a new goalkeeper, but Spurs, it'd be a great signing for Spurs. And I don't mean that as a joke, because De Gea has made mistakes, and I love to see it sometimes. But he would replace Hugo Lloris, a top-level goalkeeper that's Premier League proven, and then maybe that frees you up to go and buy David Raya.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that an issue can be resolved. He is a club legend. I hope this is just a bit of a drop in the ocean. There was a tweet. I'll just pull up the tweet now that he put out on Thursday or Wednesday. It was just a very simple yawning emoji, and whether that indicates I'm tired of this situation, this is boring, this is disrespectful. I think it's becoming clear that he was very annoyed by the situation. Like, you're told to avoid situations like this on social media as a professional, but it couldn't go on. So I think his time is over. It's just a shame that he hasn't actually got to say a proper goodbye in front of the fans after a game. But who knows?
How many years has he been there? Has he done enough years for a testimonial?
I'd say so. I don't know how many years it is for a testimonial, but we signed him in 2011.
Oh yeah, so he's got enough time for a testimonial. So even if he leaves, they may bring him back just for one testimonial game.
Yeah, I'd love that, to be honest. I'd be.
That's a way to say goodbye.
Yeah, and he certainly does deserve it. You know, in the post Fergie era of Manchester United, he's definitely been one of our top players. So it's very different because another player whose contract's run out for Manchester United, Phil Jones, his contract just sort of fizzled out, and he's taken his pay, and everyone knows that that's the right decision. So as much as you can say about someone's contract running out, that's a different matter. But
where do you think he'll go?
I hope he doesn't go to Saudi, because then I don't know. If I'd be happier that he goes to Saudi than another Premier League or European rival, for example. He could go back to Atletico Madrid. I know they've just recently got Azpilicueta, haven't they?
Yeah.
So that could happen, but wherever he goes, he's going to want to be first choice. I think Manchester United would be the only club he would probably settle for being on the bench. Personally.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But he goes to Atletico Madrid, he's got Old Black in front of him.
Yeah.
He's not going to unseat him. Maybe Juventus, because did Wojciech Szczesny, he had a bit of a heart condition, didn't he?
Oh, yeah.
And he took the rest of the season off. So that wouldn't be a bad move for him. Maybe going to Juventus.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see him going anywhere other than Spain or Saudi. I wouldn't blame him for going to Saudi. You know, it's all about making the money, isn't it? He could easily get 500k plus. So, you know, why not? But yeah, hopefully we'll see. We've got obviously the pre-season tour. I think ours starts in 10 days.
Oh, wow.
I could be wrong on that. I will just double check as we go along. But it'll be interesting to see, because I don't get this. We should have our signings in place before all of this kicks off. I'm a firm believer in that, and the fact we've only just got one player over the line is somewhat disappointing. So yeah, Leeds on the 12th of July. And I'm sure the squad will be announced a couple of days prior. So we'll see. We'll move on to the next bit then, a little bit more in your wheelhouse, Sean, and it is the price of rice.
Yeah, boy.
Record-breaking fee for an English player. Am I right in saying that?
I think you're right. Yeah, just slightly over what Jack Grealish was.
What was it? Was it 100 million plus 5 in add-ons?
That's right.
Thoughts?
It's a lot of money for a player that's scored 10 league goals in his entire career. But we've not signed him for that. And I think that Mikel Arteta is cooking something spicy. And I think that what Declan Rice is very good at is the transition of play and breaking up play. So he can take the ball long periods of long distances across the pitch. And I think that is what he's being brought in for. A lot of people saying is he signed in Thomas Partey's replacement mould, but I think he's more of a Granit Xhaka kind of player, where he's that fluid side. He can fill in at the back because he's been a defender before. I think that's where he's going to play. I like Declan Rice, but I think 105 million we've had our pants down a little bit. I would have liked to have settled at somewhere about 75, 80. But
yeah,
I don't know if you saw any of Luco's thing on TalkSport the other day, where she said that she's been in situations where she encourages her rivals to bid, knowing that they're not going to buy the players.
I've heard that.
And she said that maybe Arteta's given Pep a call to put a bit of pressure on the owners to put a final bid in and make sure that they secure the player. I mean, Simon Jordan ruined Eni Aluko over that, but
yeah, I was going to say it's not very often Simon Jordan comes out looking like in the right, but
yeah.
So it's a special talent that she's been able to do that.
It's just absolutely tone deaf to football sometimes. But
yeah, I mean, I feel like there is a little bit of an element to that, right? Where Man City's interest, it was very clear throughout the week, as reported by a lot of the top journalists, that Man City were not going to bid unless they felt that there was some sort of pull from the player, right? And they obviously felt it because they did put in a bid. So Arsenal had bids rejected. Man City came in with a little bit of a better offer, and then Arsenal went, right, we're just shutting this down now. We're giving you what you've asked for. We want him. We want to make it clear. So I don't I don't think you can say that Man City had no interest, because he is a brilliant player. And why the hell not would you want one of the best, English players in that position?
Mm-hmm.
But Arsenal made it very clear. I think they said that as soon as the news was reported of the Man City bid, they said, we already know Arsenal are coming in and they're bumping it up. So it was very clearly reported throughout the week. I think it was Tuesday that it was actually given the sort of here we go. So I was out at the Nephew's Sports Day. I was following the sort of in between races. I was keeping an eye on Twitter just to see what was going on. But I moaned in the transfer of Mason Mount this week as well, so I'm proud of that one. But yeah, it's Havertz went a little bit under the radar at the same time as that.
Yeah, his announcement video got leaked everywhere before Arsenal actually posted it. Classic Arsenal. But I'm a bit indifferent about Havertz. I don't think he doesn't excite me as much as Rice does, but
sure.
We'll see. Because I look at Havertz and I think, is this just Mesut Ozil 2.0? Now, we had a really good spell with Mesut Ozil, so I'll take the good Mesut Ozil. But then, if he starts getting sloppy and lazy, and I think Mesut Ozil was playing, was it fortnights till like 2 a.m. some nights? And I'm like, what are you doing, you dick? You're a professional athlete. So yeah, as long as we don't get that side of Mesut Ozil and we get that with Kai Havertz, then fine.
Yeah, I think I can relate to you on that front, because again, with Mason Mount, it's very much a transfer. It's just one of them transfers that's hard to get excited about. But as a fan, you back your new transfer, right? You trust the manager's decision, and I think that it's clear that Mikel Arteta's, he's steering the ship. Edu is obviously making the transfers happen, but he's making the transfers that Arteta wants happen. So, it's one of them cliches. Trust the process, and we'll just have to see what comes out of them.
Absolutely.
We'll move on to transfer talk. Then we'll stick with Arsenal. Pictured just to our right hand side there is Arsenal's next transfer target. It's become clear is Jurrien Timber. Again, all the reports from all the top journalists saying that it's very much looking positive. It's just about making them terms and conditions happen, and both the players are going to agree it. Do we reckon that's going to get over the line this week?
Absolutely. I think we'll sign Rice and Timber this week. And like you were saying earlier, it's nice to get transfers done before your pre-season, get everybody together. You might pay a premium to get them all in before your pre-season, but that is so important to have the pre-season together, because you start off and it's pretty loose training, and then it goes into like extreme high intensity training, and then you're straight into games. So if you don't have this kind of relaxed openness and togetherness at the beginning, a little bit of team bonding and socializing and whatnot, then you kind of hindered for the rest of the season, aren't you?
Yeah, and it's not just the fact that you're not going to be training with your new team. It's the fact they're not going to be sat at home. They're going to be training with a different team, potentially a place where they don't want to be. I mean, the sooner you can get that done, the better. Like you say, this week is going to be key for Manchester United as well, because we really are looking, very lacking. So obviously Liverpool have announced one of their big signings, SZOBOSZLAI, if that's even the correct way of saying it. A very exciting looking player alongside McAllister. They've got a player out on loan. Was it to Leipzig, Carvalho?
Carvalho, yeah.
So
he's one.
Again, it's the same old story. The clubs are making things happen. Manchester United lacking behind. Still no sniff of a striker. It's still looking very much like Rasmus Højlund is the favourite. But again, no signs of bids or anything going in. So, 10 days away from a pre-season game, and we're only a mount up compared to what we were before. So hopefully something big comes this week for us. Goalkeepers, as we was talking about earlier, there's been a lot of talk about Inter Milan's Onana.
Be a good signing, very good signing.
Absolutely would be a good signing. There were some people, again, not reliable sources as such, but they were confident that there's going to be a bid this week. I think bookmaker odds have shifted odds on for him to join Manchester United too. But there's just been no real movement. Why are we not just identifying the target and going? Today, new reports coming out that the price is putting Manchester United off because it's 50 million euros, which for a top goalkeeper, if he's your top target and it's 50 million, just pay it. Just pay it.
Could have got him on a free. Was it last season or the season before?
Yeah, I don't think he was hot property, wasn't he? Though, because of his. Did he have a drugs charge of some sort?
Yeah, doping ban.
So yeah, he was hot property. He's worked under Ten Hag, of course, with Ajax. But I'm sorry, at best, which won't happen, you're going to try and go down for 40 million, right? And at the very best, 45 million. Just pay the 5 million, for fuck's sake. That's a Scott McTominay, right? McTominay should be going for 20 million, but Man United are going to do their thing and sell him for 5. So just pay it. Sell McTominay and pay it. Just get the fucking deals done. I don't know what's going on.
Speaking of weird signings, I saw a really good intake, I think it was yesterday, about Harry Kane. Because Harry Kane's got a year left on his deal.
Yeah.
And Arsenal were in a very similar position when we had Alexis Sanchez. We could have sold Alexis Sanchez for 60 million, in 2016 or something, I think, to Man City. In the summer, but we had this mindset of, well, if we start the season well, he'll sign a new deal, and it was very quickly apparent when he was on the bench laughing at us every week that he wasn't going to sign a deal. So we did that awful trade, and nobody came off good with the Mkhitaryan and Alexis Sanchez swap. With Harry Kane, Spurs are still holding on to that 100 million, thinking we're going to get 100 million. In 6 months' time, they are in a terrible, terrible bargaining position.
Yeah.
So why are Spurs not going, all right, it's not as much as we want. It's similar to like what you're saying with signing Onana for, say, it's another 5 million. If they say, okay, it's just another 10 million or another 20 million, and we would have got what we wanted, but we don't have a strong hand here.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bayern offered 70 million for him this week. That's the opportune and ideal option for them. Sell him abroad, 70 million.
Yeah.
You don't have him in the Premier League. He's not competing against you. You're not in the Champions League. He's not going to score any goals against you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Except 70 million. Or even, if Man United come in and say, we'll give you 80 million for him.
Mm-hmm.
Stop dicking about 100 million, because in 6 months' time, he's going to be worth peanuts. Yeah. He's just going to go, nah, it's all right, I'll just stay here. 6 months.
I fully respect you taking the low-hanging fruit there at Spurs. You love to see it. But yeah, for me, like I said, that deal, it stunk a little bit for me, because it was like, that feels like he's never going to accept it. But 70 million from another Premier League club would have been laughed out of the park, especially United. You've got Premier League rival tax, Man United tax, and
English tax.
Yeah, I think it just stinks of he's signing a new deal, or Tottenham want, exactly as you said, they want someone to go, okay, 70 million, we'll give you 75 or we'll give you 80. I think that's exactly what it is. But
yeah,
I don't know. Like you said before, there's a very good chance he signs a new deal. But are we clear as fans or pundits, if you like, what Harry Kane actually wants? Is it clear what Harry Kane wants from his position? Does he want just to be sold for a big fee? Does he want trophies? Does he want that goal record? What does he want?
I think above everything, it's the goal record.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he would have left a couple of seasons ago. He would have really agitated for a move.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's all about that goal record. But if I was him, if I was his agent, I mean, he's got all the money that he needs.
When you say about agitating for a move, though, I think he did as much as he possibly can without crossing the border of being unprofessional, though.
Yeah.
But he didn't turn in for training, did he?
That's right, yeah. And he went and played golf with Gary Neville for the overlap. But I think you have to, at some point, push for that. Be a bit unprofessional. Get what you want. It's your career. You've only got 15 years in it at the top level of a professional footballer's career, and you've wasted 10 of them at Spurs, winning nothing.
Should have stayed at Leicester, mate, and won 3 trophies.
Or Norwich.
So yeah, I can't see him moving. I really can't. Like, if the Bayern Munich 70 million is not enough to get him gone, then he's probably not going to move anywhere else. I think he's out of Man United's budget now.
Yeah.
So,
but you guys have no strikers currently, and if anything, you need to sign 2 strikers.
The disrespect to Tony Marshall, he's probably injured just hearing you say that.
Is he a striker?
He has been, yeah.
Would you let him run the line? Lead the line?
If he was fit, he's the only option we've got. I mean, it was always between Rashford and Martial who got played out on the left-hand side, and it's become apparent that Rashford is a much stronger fit there. Mm-hmm. So his only position is down the middle. He's just not good enough.
No. I wouldn't want to go into, if I was Manchester United and Manchester United fans, I would not want to be going into the first game of the season with Tony Martial as your main striker.
Oh, no one does, mate. No one does. Trust me. This is why it's just getting ever frustrating as we go on, that there's a David De Gea saga. You know, we've signed Mason Mount. Okay, that's done. We can move on from that. But there's a David De Gea saga. You know, we haven't sold any players yet. The only players we have sold has gone for ridiculously low fees. There's been a couple of loanees go out. And, yeah, we just don't really know what's happening. Eric Bailly, did you say, as well, as agreed a move? A couple of million.
£2 million, yeah.
So, meanwhile, while that's good and that stuff is happening, you know, the Deadwood's going, it's adding to the kitty a little bit, if you like. It's wages off the bill. It's money in the transfer fees. But just start making moves. I don't know whether they're just keeping things very well under wraps. It will, like I said, this time next week, we're going to be sat down going, right, we play on Wednesday. They're going to be flying out to pre-season on Monday, I'd imagine, training for a bit, maybe even earlier. And we're going to be going there with exactly the same team we finished the season with, plus Mason Mount.
Less a few players.
I mean, yeah, in the grand scheme of things, yeah, there will be a few players gone, but...
with Tom Heaton as your only goalkeeper, because Dean Henderson don't want to be there either.
Yeah, and Butland's gone back, hasn't he? So
yeah,
I don't know. It's just, I'm hoping for big moves this week. I can't see it happening, but let's not get too carried away. But excuse me, and I'm not that bored about talking Man United, I promise. Justin, can't tell you his name, Bijlo from Feyenoord, their goalkeeper. That was the alternative to Onana, because he would apparently be cheaper. For Man United there. He played for Feyenoord in their season. Again, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I've watched a lot of Eredivisie, but he had 25 games, 12 clean sheets in the league, 8 Europa League games, 3 clean sheets. So just on the face of things, they're not bad numbers. No. But it's all about how he plays. You know, is he good? Is he good with the ball at his feet, playing out from the back, commanding his back line? That's, you know, if we're busting to get a new goalkeeper, that's what we want to know. So I'll have a look out for this week. I'm sure with the news only coming out today, there's some people that I watch that do scout reports. I'm not into looking at the scouting stuff. It's far too in-depth for a pretender like me. But yeah, hopefully I'll have a bit more information to know whether I should get excited or not about this transfer. But yeah, early days on that one. The last person I want to talk about in transfer talk, one of the big hitters, Moise Caicedo. Chelsea are set to enter talks again with him this week. It looked very much exactly as we thought, that Man United toyed with the idea just to get the Mount deal moving, which is now done. That doesn't mean a clear run for Chelsea, though, does it? Are Arsenal still sniffing around Caicedo?
Oh my God, could you imagine? It would be incredible, but I don't think so. The kind of money he wants.
He had agreed a deal, though, so there might be something where he's holding out for that Arsenal to come in.
It's big money, isn't it?
Your name's not Manchester United, so you guys don't have FFP regulations. Remember that.
Well, I did read some really interesting stuff the other day that we'd cut. Our wage bill is 150 million a season less than Man United's, Man City's, and Liverpool's.
That's crazy.
So you imagine our wage bill is if it is that much lower, that is a huge amount of money that we can spend. That's
a benefit of a young squad. 150 million a year translates into what? 3 players on 150 grand each? Something like that. So you could go and give someone 300 grand a week and still be under budget to all the tops.
Yeah. Oh, and we've just given it to Saka, haven't we? And we've made Kai Havertz the most the best paid player in the club, apparently.
Really?
Apparently so.
Oh my.
200 oh no, Saka's the highest at 300, but Havertz has just gone to 225 or something like that.
Oh shit! Wow, I didn't know
So it's
that.
big money. Yeah, big money. But Real Madrid were interested in him as well, and they kind of pulled out for Havertz, and I wonder whether or not we spoke about Mbappe earlier in the week, but imagine if Real Madrid go in with they've signed Bellingham. Who else did they sign? Not Joselu. Let's not talk about Joselu. I don't think that's a good signing. But imagine if they bring out Mbappe as well.
Mm.
Real Madrid are a scary team then, aren't they?
Yeah, I feel like the Mbappe stuff sort of died a death. He obviously came out and said that he's happy and not going anywhere, but he's not signing a new deal. And then it just sort of, there was no news about it. It'll be interesting to see if that turns into a saga. I feel like that's going to go into another saga towards the last 2 weeks of the transfer window, you know.
Yeah. Robbie from AFTV thinks that he's coming to Arsenal. It's like, Robbie, relax. This isn't Football Manager. We don't have infinite money glitch.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think what we was talking about last week as well was with the depth that they now have in their midfield. Can you see someone leaving? There was a report this week as well that Camavinga, they're in contract talks with him to sort of enhance his contract and secure him down. So they're making their plans clear. That's who they want as their midfielders. So Tchouaméni, are you going to be a second string or are you going to get moved out?
Yeah, there was talks about him as well. Again, Robbie gets crazy. Stupid fucking fat fuck. So, yeah, you know, if it'd be a great signing, but I'm going to wear my realistic hat on and I think that maybe we'll sell Tom. If we sell Thomas Partey, then we'll bring in somebody who's maybe 40 million, maybe Lavia. I wouldn't mind Lavia. It seems like a tidy player, but he's 19. We got Samuel Okonga, who's had a bit of experience out on loan at Palace. Maybe he's come back as a better player. Still got Fabio Vieira. Do we really want to be buying £80 million midfielders that maybe stifles the progress and development of our existing good players?
Yeah,
where does Emil Smith Rowe go if you buy another £80 million player?
Yeah, I think it's clear that if Smith Rowe wants first team football, he needs to move. We spoke about that before. He's not getting in over Odegaard, is he? Let's be real. Especially Odegaard has got enough credit in the bank to the point where he's only getting dropped for maybe a Carabao Cup game against Fleetwood or something like that, you know, or injury, of course. Yeah, I'd love to see Robbie's takes on these. He's probably looking at Tchouaméni and gone, he's French, he's a midfielder, he's the next Vieira. And Mbappe, he's French, he's a left winger or striker, he's the next Henry.
He is doing that, believe me.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. I mean, Mbappe for me is probably going to be clear of Henry, but we'll see. Yeah, any other glaringly obvious transfer sagas or stories that we've not covered? As I said, Cesar Azpilicueta went to Atletico Madrid. That was a good one for them, I think.
Yuri Tillmans, he's joined Aston Villa. That's a good signing for them.
Oh no, it was
a little bit.
Pau Torres, wasn't it? Was the latest one for Villa from Villarreal.
That's right. That was a great signing as well because Pau Torres was tipped for huge things only a couple of years ago. Seems to have stifled as well. Was it 25 million or something like that? So Unai Emery's he's building something really special there. I'm very jealous of Yuri Tillmans. I think that he's a very good squad player, and I would have loved to have brought him there. So yeah, fair play to Villa.
Pau Torres was a player that Manchester United had some interest in as well. Like after we lost to them in the Europa League final, his name's been bandied about, so it's not like he's just some nobody. But yeah, a very good pickup for Emery's old player at Villarreal.
Yeah,
very exciting to see what he's made of.
I did see that Sevilla have put their entire club up on the transfer list because they're £90 million overspent and in debt.
That's right, yeah. That's a good point. I did see about that, and it just made me so mad that Barcelona are so deep in the hole
Yeah,
Oh, they've got that big Prime money now, though, haven't they? Have you seen that?
yeah, I did see that. I see KSI and Logan Paul dissing Arsenal. And I'm like, what are you
Mate,
doing, man?
honestly, I've never cringed so hard when I saw this morning. It was on Barcelona's official TikTok page, and it was KSI and Logan Paul quizzing each other on Barcelona, saying what's the quote from the club, and Logan Paul was saying it, and I'm like, I guarantee you that Logan Paul hadn't heard of Barcelona until Wednesday. I guarantee that he had never heard of Barcelona.
I shouldn't think so.
Yeah,
I bet he's not even played a football match, even as a kid.
Yeah.
Although he does look like an athlete. Maybe he did.
That's
Who knows?
absolutely massive for both of them. Much needed cash for Barca and unbelievable, what's the word? Exposure for Prime. Not that it needs it, but
I think it tastes like shit.
I have to say, I've now gone for my third flavour of this Prime because, right, here's what bugged me, right? Why was all these squeaky kids after Prime? I was watching KSI on YouTube before you were born, mate, okay? So don't get me started on that, number one. Who in their right mind paid £20 for a bottle of Prime? I waited like the true cheapskate I am till it was in the shops readily available for £1.99. Don't know the flavours, but the blue one's nice. The iced pop is horrendous, and I've got a bottle of red one in the fridge to try.
The green one. The green one was awful. The red, white, and blue one wasn't too bad. I think that's the ice pop one thing.
Ice pop, yeah.
Yeah, I quite like that one, but I don't get the hype. I don't see the. Why have you come for Wakey? Wakey what?
We was actually put on the map when Aldi got Prime because there was a fight in one of the local Aldis near me here in Peterborough. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Maskew Avenue Aldi was the only place you can see a 60-year-old man rip a bottle of Prime from the hands of a 9-year-old boy. You love to see it. Very, very proud to be from this fine state. But I'm a Lincolnshire boy at heart, so in there. It wouldn't happen in Spalding, mate, would it?
Never.
Yeah, I think that's about it. There was one thing on the tip of my tongue there.
The offside rule.
That's right, the offside rule, because the offside rule is so terrible and... No, sorry, the offside rule is so good that a change is crazy and it always works. So talk to us about the new offside rule.
So Arsene Wenger he's the head of, he's part of the head of UEFA at the moment, and they're pushing through rule changes. They are set to trial an offside rule where the attacker has to have their entire body beyond the last defender, clear daylight between the two of them, and they're trialing it in Italy's under-21s, Sweden's under-21s, and the Netherlands under-21s with their women's under-19s for just this season to see how it goes before potentially inputting it on the 25-26 season. So 2 years of it.
Okay, I misunderstood it from when you told me that yesterday. I thought it was to be onside. There had to be clear. It would be offside if there wasn't clear daylight onside. But it's the other way around.
Yeah, so if the attacker is all the way beyond the last defender,
that's offside. But if there's like a crossover of a leg, then it's not.
Then they're still onside. I mean, ultimately, what real advantage do they have when their heel is, the tip of their foot is beyond the defender, when their shoulder is beyond the defender, or their head is beyond the defender? There is no clear advantage. So, and they're always saying give the attacker the benefit of the doubt. There is no benefit of the doubt with VAR anymore. So, and we don't see low scoring games, but it creates a bit more goals. I mean, can you imagine if Timo Werner was in the Premier League when this offside rule is in place? The guy was perpetually offside.
He'd have never left.
They'll win the league. They'll win the league easily. The guy was always offside.
Yeah, it's a strange one for me because I get it, but every offside situation is different, right? So when you think of just a solid straight through ball, I get it. There shouldn't need to be that much in it. So if there needs to be clear daylight for it to be offside, they're running with the defender. There's not going to be a great advantage if there's a small leg crossover or not, right?
No.
But other situations, like for example, like a corner or a free kick near the corner, and there's a player standing clearly out of position. You know, if they've got like a 2-foot advantage on a player, but there's a crossover, for me that should still be offside, because that player is probably facing in the complete opposite direction to the runner, and that runner's got like 2-3 foot of momentum from like the defenders holding their position, right, holding their line with their back to the player as you do defend. So are we saying now that they've got to turn around and face the defender and face away from the ball? It just seems a bit too much. I feel like all it boils down to at the end of the day is, where is the line drawn? You know, not if you're a referee at Arsenal, because it doesn't get drawn. But that's all the offside rule changes is that you can make, isn't it? It's where is the line? Where is the line?
Yeah.
And there's going to be an incident where they try and change where the line goes, and then they're going to say, this was a goal last season, this isn't a goal this season. We've gone through all of last season's goals, and with the new rules, it'll be Liverpool fans doing this, won't it? It'll be Liverpool fans going, if this was the offside rule last season, we would have finished 4th, I'll have you know. I guarantee for a fact. And I don't understand. I think we're trying to get VAR to work, and it's frustrating for me because they want to get it to work and they want it to remain consistent. Stop changing the fucking rules every year then. That's not consistency.
They're trying to create it so that there is no ambiguity. It's no like the bottoms of the cuffs of the t-shirt is handball or whatever. They're just trying to make it clear cut. Mm-hmm. If you are entirely beyond the defender, you're offside. But I see what you mean actually, and I'd not thought of it when a defender is running away from goal and the attacker is running beyond goal. That crossover where they're say a fraction ahead of them. That is enormous. And again, when you can't be offside from a corner, obviously, but when it's the second ball into a phase of play where all the defenders are coming out of the box and you've got a guy that's maybe far over on the right hand side that you've not seen, that gives them a huge advantage.
Absolutely, and I think again that t-shirt rule was just another stupid thing because it's from your elbow and all that stuff. It's just like, look, just do it exactly the same as it's done in like 100-meter sprints, right? It's when your torso crosses the line. Just use the torso, draw the line, and if your torso, you can use the whole body for the defender, that's fine, but the torso of the attacking player maybe. Just whatever you do, stick to it, don't change it. And that's how it's going to be. You can't argue about inconsistency of the refs when the rules change every single year. It's crazy.
If you could implement one, I've got a change that I would put in, but if you could implement one change into football, what change would you make?
Oh, what, like a
rule change? Something that makes the game better.
Just specifically for VAR, or just anything in general?
Anything in general.
Oh my god, you put me right on
I'll
the
tell
spot.
You what mine is.
I was gonna say, give me yours first.
So I would change where the spot kicks are taken. I think the attackers always have more advantage on a penalty than the defending team, and they should have, but they have a 1v1 opportunity. So I think
in a penalty.
Yeah, that's it. So I think a penalty, the penalty spot should be moved further back.
What?
Not like an MLS way where you take it from the halfway line.
Hockey run up.
But I think that for a goalkeeper, I mean, the goals are massive. The spot kick is 12 yards out. Mm-hmm. If I've just seen Geordie's comment about Saints winning the league. But if you have the spot kick, maybe, I don't know, 3 yards back, it gives such more of a balanced attack for the goalkeeper. Goalkeepers now have no advantage. They're not allowed to come off the line. Yeah. They have to stay on the line side by side. There's not a lot of leeway for a goalkeeper, whereas the attacker, you could get a penalty at the very corner of the box, like when Mo Salah just falls over theatrically, he's in no threat of scoring a goal at that point. So to have a spot kick from 12 yards out, I think is unfair for the challenge that he's received, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So what would you do? Like have a different variation of distances per offence, or?
No, I would just move instead of 12 yards, I'd move it back to 15 and give the goalkeeper some fault, because the way the ball moves now, the speed that it can be drilled. I just think that there is too much of an advantage on the attacker, and I think that they should move it back only 3 yards, but those 3 yards give so much more of an advantage to the goalkeeper.
I think that could be the case to argue as well with how contentious a lot of the decisions are now. Like, if it's the last player literally getting pulled back and dragged down, they shouldn't lose the advantage, because that's like a clear goal scoring opportunity, right?
Yeah.
And like you say, you've got the double jeopardy, but that's necessary. But
there's no double jeopardy as long as you've gone for the ball now. But if it's like vindictive and you've made no attempt for the ball, then it's double jeopardy.
Yeah, so honestly, I couldn't think of one. I'm just gonna I'll try and think of something as I go through what I'm about to say. And all I want to see is them lay down a rule and stick to it. Like, the number one for me is diving.
Yep.
They come out every year, not every year, but they say, right, we're going to really start punishing simulation now. And it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen often enough. Players getting booked for simulation. No one wants to see it. It's one of the worst parts of the games. I know people exaggerate, but people who don't like football, specifically rugby fans or anyone like that, you say about football, I don't watch football, it's just a bunch of fannies diving on the floor. It's just stuff like that. It's just like, that's the reputation football has got. And it's hard to go back to them and say, oh, no, it's not, because it fucking is a lot of the time now. So start booking the players for simulation. I guarantee if you go back and book every player for diving that dived in the last season, you'd see a massive reduction in it. Absolutely. Because no one wants, even football fans don't want to see it. I know some of it is a part of the game, and you might get away with one here and there, but start booking the divers and the cheaters and the time wasters. Goalkeepers as well, I think they need to be more accountable for wasted time. I think we need to start.
Oh, absolutely.
We need to start seeing more of what they've done in Qatar World Cup with the added time, actual added time for the amount of time wasted, not just 5 minutes and sort of let it fizzle out. I think
maybe even have a time where a referee goes, right, you've got 10 seconds to take your penalty kick, not your penalty kick, sorry, your goal kick. I mean, it's fluid football now, isn't it? There's a ball boy on every corner, on every side. So there is no excuse for not getting that ball back to the goalkeeper within 10, 15 seconds.
Yeah.
As soon as the goalkeeper's got it, 10 seconds to take it. I mean, Emi Martinez is the absolute worst that I've seen in the Premier League for a very long time.
Yeah.
He's awful at time wasting, but yeah, maybe that might be a good deal. I'd like to see them do that. Actually, I don't really want to see much more time on the matches, because when Terry says, "How much more of this have I got to take?" and I've got to say, it's a 90-minute match, but honestly, it could be 100 minutes. Who knows?
How much more of this have I got to take? Are you sure that's just about the football?
Well, that's where the magic happens. It's normally said there, mate.
Yeah, so referees, I think, need to be paid a little bit more respect.
Yeah.
I think I was speaking to a friend of mine at work, and his son plays grassroots football. And he said, like, even at grassroots level, it's so ingrained into people's heads that referees are just bots that are out to get you and out to ruin it. They get attacked, by the fathers of players and brothers, and
really,
and yeah, it just puts people off from the offset. So people don't want to get into a refereeing because they get constantly abused. I mean, you look at Anthony Taylor; that was an extreme example, but he literally got furniture launched at him through the airport with his family, like his young family. Like, who would want to be a referee, right? But they need to be able to they need to be able to do the job right. I'm not saying they don't make mistakes, but they don't get respected at all.
there would a rule change, perhaps have them mic'd up. I quite like the stuff that they did with VAR, where you got an insight into what they're doing in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
And would you do something like that if you were in charge?
Well, they are mic'd up now, aren't they? We did see some of the ones come out from last season, but I would just like to see them respected. That rule, when it happened that time, was it Man City, where the third player to approach the referee got a booking? That rule seemed to come out of nowhere, and I like that. They implemented a thing where it should only be the team captains. If there's been like an incident and you've got, yep, one side, one team, one player, and someone else coming in, I get there's a heat of the moment, right? But the rule is that only the captains should speak to the ref or the two players involved. I don't want to see any of that. I think anyone who surrounds the ref and starts getting in their ear should be booked.
Well, can you imagine the old Fergie days of Rio Ferdinand approaching the referee constantly? If you weren't allowed to do that, God.
I mean, it's okay, Man United, but you could say that for almost any team. Like Chelsea under Mourinho were probably the most notorious for it. But you just don't want to see it, and it happens all the time. You have Man United versus Palace even this season, and Man United versus Leeds on one of the occasions that I can remember. It just happens far too often, and I don't want everyone to get booked for being involved in a heat of the moment thing and a scrap. But when the referee just starts getting disrespected, that's just let them manage the game. Yes, they're going to make a mistake, but it's their own doing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's easier to respect referees now that what the hell?
Mike Dean.
Mike Dean, thank you. Now that Mike Dean's gone, I'll give a bit more respect to referees.
He's doing his job all right in Ted Lasso, isn't he? He'll be back. He'll be back because he's a wannabe celebrity, isn't he?
I can hate him. Okay, mate.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be interesting to see. Like I said, it's a very symptomatic thing of the Premier League. Bring a new rule in and allow it for the first week, really enforce it the first week, and then forget about it. A couple of the comments. Prime energy drinks suck. I've not tried the fizzy energy drinks, but I'm not going to be in a rush to get them. Thanks for the comment. Isn't offside? I wish it was that simple. How am I meant to explain that to the wife now? Well, there is a very special Olympic 2012 50p coin that you can get that explains the offside rule. They're quite valuable now, so you might be struggling to get one. But and Geordie Saints would have won the league with the new offside rule. Hey, they might win the league next season. You never know.
I hope they do. I'd quite like to see Saints and Leeds come up as first and second next season.
They're going to lose the playoff final. You heard it here first.
They haven't even named a manager yet, which is staggering.
Yeah, that is pretty bad. While we're on the subject of relegated teams, Leicester have made a couple of surprising signings. Harry Winks was one of them. Who was the other one they got? Connor Cody.
Yeah.
And I was like,
good signings.
I mean, Connor Cody, you're not going to argue is a good defender, but he's made appearances for England. I think he's better than a championship level player for me.
I'd agree.
But I think they're making the signings to put themselves in good stead, certainly. I don't know. I know you're not a big fan of Harry Winks, are you? But
it doesn't do anything. He's played for England a few times as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's got dual nationality. He could have played for Malta or something, if I remember rightly. Some weird back of the brain kind of catalogue shit that I've got going on. But I don't think he's a very good player, and I don't know how he's got to. I think he's 27 or 28, and he's this is his prime of his career. I think he was on loan. I want to say he was in Italy last year. But get him into the championship, get him playing every week. Let's see if he's really good, or whether he's just last generation's version of Oliver Skipp. They're very much the same kind of. We've got a British player that we want to hold on to that could be good, and then turns out to be absolute pony. So
Dele Alli 2.0.
Yeah, that's it. But I think you're right. Leicester have probably set themselves for promotion. They've just lost Soyuncu, haven't they? He's gone to Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple more of their players will leave because were they the third team to get relegated? They went down, didn't they?
Yeah. Oh, one we didn't talk about was James Maddison went to Tottenham. No one cares. No one cares here, Spurs fans. Get out.
You're gone. Maddison, to be fair to Maddison, his stats are better than Havertz, but he plays in a different role to Havertz.
Not a bad signing for 40 mil, though.
No, I believe they wanted Maddison and Barnes for 50 mil combined. It's like, well, Barnes is easily worth more than 10 mil. What are you on about?
Yeah.
If anything, I think that Spurs got Maddison cheap for 40 million.
Yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, they've not really lost many of their core players that featured in the first team last season, with the exception of Tielemans and Maddison. I think, and they've got a good replacement for Sancho, I believe, in Cody. It's yet to be seen how Harry Winks will perform in the midfield. Iheanacho is still there, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't see no reason why if they don't book a couple more signings, maybe they can get themselves back in the Prem. We'll have a look at all this. We'll start to have a look soon as well. We need to start putting our calendar together of dates because we're going to want to do our predictions for next season and stuff like that. So,
yeah, boy.
Yeah, that should be good fun.
I'm looking forward to seeing Jamie Vardy in the Championship. That's what I'd quite like to have him one last swan song, 35, 36, however old he is, get the club back into the Premier League and then go, thanks, lads.
Break Mitrovic's record.
Yeah, why not? Oh, what was it, 48 goals or something obscene?
Oh, no, it wasn't that high, was it? Was it 42?
It was high, but I can't remember what it was, but it was disgustingly high.
I can't remember. Yeah, we'll have to have a look into that after this. We'll call it a night then. We'll not talk managers. I think we've had 9 in the past 5 years. Hey, but it served you well. Barnsley fans, back in the big time now. We'll call it a night there then, Sean. Again, thank you everyone who came to watch the video. If you haven't done so already, just leave a little like on the video for us. It'll be massively appreciated. The video, as always, will get posted up, so share it with your friends. If there's anything you thought was particularly interesting, let us know in the Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord already, the link is down below in the video description. So come and jump over there. We're going to have all the stuff coming up. We're going to do a Fantasy Premier League again for next season. We've got a channel for transfers and speculations, so all the news that we hear of, we'll try and post it in there as much as possible. And yeah, just have a discussion about football throughout the week as much as we can with no football. I even put the Formula 1 on today because I was like, I need sport. I'm dying without sport. And watching men go vroom vroom around a track, it didn't give me the thrill of watching someone thundercunt from 40 yards out, Yeah, I don't think the family would have been too impressed. There was a retro Aston Villa versus Man United Cup game on, and I thought, nah, I've invited the family over, better not go too far. Plus, the niece wanted to watch dancing vegetables on TV, like little raspberries floating around on the screen. If you know, you know. That's it.
I have no idea.
Sean has no idea what I'm even saying at this point. Not the cricket. Not the cricket. Have you been following the cricket, Sean?
I think I see a really contentious throw out. I don't know what it's called when you get somebody out. And then I heard
throw out.
And then I saw Ben Stokes was racking up the numbers. And then there was a bit of an argy-bargy with the Aussies. I don't know.
Are you just saying generic cricket words about cricket now? Argy-bargy Aussies.
Yeah, I've got cricket bingo cards down here. Gone for a 6.
I think, in all honesty, I hope England win, as I always do, but I think the Just Stop Oil protesters was probably the most exciting part of that match.
Oh, really?
Something exciting. No, they're everywhere now, aren't they?
Yeah, I see they were in an LGBTQ march earlier this week. So,
they lay down in front of a bus. Like,
yeah,
if you're willing to lay yourself down in front of a bus, you probably deserve to get run over. Like, no disrespect to that person, but
well, lay down in front of a load of LGBTQ supporters is more the point.
But they sort of like dressed up the part, didn't they? And there was just like the bus driver must have been so confused. It's like, is he one of us? Yeah. And you really have to pray that the bus driver has seen you too. Like, I'm just going to lay down in front of this bus. Please don't run me over. Wait, why is he still moving?
What are they protesting with an LGBTQ thing? Is there too much oil and lubricants? I don't know.
Yeah. It's well known that gay people use more heating and petrol than straight people. apparently.
If you say so.
Oil-based lubricants. Oh my god! Right, before we get ourselves in any sort of tricky situations, we're going to end this live stream. But as always, Sean, thank you very much for another pod, mate. It's been brill, and yeah, everyone who's in the Discord will speak to you throughout the week, I'm sure. Take it easy, mate.
See you guys.
Bye.